Hey there, and thank you so much for being with us on this Friday, September 19th. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and this is Weather Out West. If you're joining us for the first time, this is our hour-long show where we tell you what's expected weather-wise across the western United States. You're going to find forecasts from our team of meteorologists in Colorado, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and even Arizona. Our weather team in Sacramento issued a weather impact alert on this Friday due to the heavy rain threat from the remnants of Tropical Storm Mario. Monica Woods has everything you need to know in today's forecast.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, and we are wrapping up what has been pretty much every kind of weather that we've had for the week, with highs in the 100s and heat risk on to tropical moisture, showers, and much cooler weather, with our regional headlines holding on to some of those showers for the coast and valley. But most of that is going to press east of the state. So for the foothills and Sierra, a bit more active weather that we'll be tracking through our Friday. And you can see how this is playing out. Counterclockwise circulation of that low as it moves through the state is really going to be favoring the east side of the state, particularly the higher elevations, as well as the north end of the valley and through parts of the coastal range. That'll be the severe weather outlook for our Friday. Now, as we track some of the excessive rainfall forecasts, you can see it's falling fairly in line with that thunderstorm risk, but most of it is going to be confined to right around the Tahoe Basin on the southern end all the way into Yosemite and the central and southern Sierra. We have some burn scars that we're going to be a little bit concerned about, especially near Fresno County, where we have that Garnet fire that burned about almost 60,000 acres. So there's a lot of charred out land that is very vulnerable when we get any sort of rain coming through. Headlines for our weather impact alert: the timing, when through Friday. Impact is going to be showers and thunderstorms due to the tropical moisture, and we're certainly feeling it as well. That air feels really heavy right now. Stay weather aware. You need to have all those county alerts loaded on your phone in case you're traveling. And this is still a big time of year for folks to be traveling, especially through the foothills and the Sierra. It tends to be quite lovely this time of year. We'll see right around 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain coming in during our Friday forecast, about 1/4 of an inch or so for the Tahoe Basin. The good side of this is, yes, we have the risk of thunderstorms, but we also have the wetting rain. That being said, CAL FIRE is positioning and pre-deploying extra staff to make sure that if any lightning sparked fires happen, they are able to address those very quickly instead of letting them get out of control. Our Futurecast model showing the favorable side of this storm system really on the east side of the state, and then the wraparound moisture just kind of impacting the north end of the valley through parts of the coastal range. Pretty much tapers off during the day rather quickly. Now for Saturday, we start off dry, slight chance of seeing a pop-up shower there for the Sierra, but outside of that, things are looking pretty dry and mild for the last weekend of summer, that autumnal equinox on Monday. Now, as we head into the first couple of days of fall, we are going to be tracking some more moisture streaming its way in from the south here. It looks like it's going to hold off just to the coast here. You can see a very evident counterclockwise circulation of a low. There's a lot brewing in the Pacific right now, trying to see how much of that moisture we tap into by the middle of next week. In the meantime, we're wrapping up this work week. Highs are going to be in the 60s for the Sierra. We're in the 70s to near 80 for the foothills. As we head into the central Sierra, again, we're going to be looking at the potential for flood risk. Highs are in the 70s, 80s, though, through much of the Central Valley after reaching highs deep in the 100s earlier this week. 80s for much of the San Joaquin Valley across the central coast. We're in the 60s to near 70, a little bit on the cool side of things. 60s and 70s as well for the Bay Area, with 80s inland. Moving northward, still that chance of lingering showers for today. Highs in the 60s for the coast. As we head inland, we're only topping out near 80. Again, we were really pushing upper 90s to near 100 earlier this week. So this is a nice drop in those temperatures for these last days of summer. Highs are in the lower 80s for the Sacramento Valley forecast with that weather impact alert. And then for the last weekend of summer, we are right on target. Average high, upper 80s. That's where we'll be. A little warmer for the first day of fall, and then again tracking showers next week.
Now let's take you down to Southern California as the remnants of Mario continue to move north and east. Southern California can expect drier conditions, but rain may return on Sunday. Vanessa Paz has the details from San Diego.
Well, we can breathe a sigh of relief. We have made it to the end of the work week. Happy Friday, everyone, from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. Here was a view earlier of our Hotel Del Sky Cam, and this is what it looked like yesterday. This photo was actually submitted by one of our frequent viewers, Barry Allman, and he always submits incredible photos across the region. This one was taken near the coast. Now, yesterday was really when our microclimate forecast came into play, because although we saw clear skies, those clouds break apart for some of the coastal communities. It was just jam-packed with thunderstorm lightning strikes when it came to the county's eastern half. Things are going to simmer down as we look ahead towards the end of your final week of summer and head into your final days of the season as well. Here are the headlines as we kick off the weekend. It will be drier, so we've been dealing with very muggy conditions, all due to a surge of tropical moisture, the remnants of Tropical Storm Mario. The outer bounds now moving well to our north in central and northern California and well to our east. And for us here in San Diego, things are drying out. Now, we will have relief from those high humidity levels as we progress through the weekend. However, we're looking towards another surge of tropical moisture come Sunday, which could linger into the start of next week. But looking ahead to the fall season, which starts around 11 a.m. for us here in San Diego on Monday, we're actually looking at the heat to continue to linger into the new season. Taking a look at high temperatures for Friday, we'll be mostly in the mid to high 70s along the beaches, 70s and partly sunny skies. Much greater clearing, though, for areas away from the coast. We're shooting for mostly 80s for the inland communities, and we'll be topping out in the mid to high 70s for our mountain areas, mid 90s meanwhile for our desert regions. So here are one of our Futurecast models, showcases mostly clear conditions all the way through this afternoon. We'll stay fairly dry, especially in the mountain areas. We could have some lingering moisture, which could cause instability for a stray shower here or there, but the chances look very minimal. Taking a look to Saturday morning, we'll have the push of more of that westerly flow, which will bring in that cloud deck, those marine layer clouds forming along the coast, but most of those clouds will retreat back offshore looking ahead to Saturday afternoon. So overall, looks like Saturday is going to be very nice. I mean, we're talking about much less humidity levels in comparison to what we experienced over the past couple of days, which will result into much more comfortable conditions outside. So it's all due to this dry air mass. It's filtering into Southern California. That will be the case for the next couple of days. However, we are keeping our eye on these two tropical systems brewing off the coast of southern Baja as well as central Mexico. And depending on the track of those storms, we could have another surge of tropical moisture move in towards the end of the weekend, lasting all the way through next week. So here's what it looks like percentage-wise day by day. The chance pretty much down to 0 all the way through Saturday in terms of rain chances for the mountains. And then it climbs back up again Sunday all the way through early next week, then dropping again towards the end of next week. So we're kind of in between these tropical systems here. Our 7-day forecast showcases highs with subtle daily changes. We're talking about high 70s to low 80s for the next several days. Just in time for fall equinox, we are looking at warm conditions, especially for interior parts of the county. In fact, temperatures really start to warm up looking ahead to Monday and Tuesday, all due to a ridge of high pressure kind of redeveloping. But that ridge is actually what's going to push in some of that subtropical moisture as well. So we'll be reaching for highs in the mid 80s this afternoon, and then looking ahead to this weekend, we'll shoot into the high 80s, close to 90 degrees, but we'll hit the low 90s, especially for those warmer neighborhoods by the time we get to next week. Taking a look at the mountain areas, high 70s, and then we'll actually see daytime highs climb about 10 degrees or so tomorrow, dropping down a few degrees as we have that push of incoming clouds that will block the sun's heat. And then we're looking at heating rebounding by the time we get to next Monday and Tuesday.
Coming up after a quick break, we'll have your forecast for Arizona and Colorado.
When you reach for your
Like California, portions of Arizona felt the impacts from Mario, with lingering rain chances in the forecast today and possibly again Sunday and Monday. Here's Ginger Jeffries with much more from Phoenix.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west across Arizona, where we have had some very active weather over the past 24 hours, and we're only halfway through because, yes, more monsoon moisture is going to be a major feature in the forecast today. The location, that is going to be the biggest change up from yesterday. Yesterday, we saw so much of it south of the city and west of the region. Today, it's going to push into the higher elevations and include the rim through the White Mountains. So we're going to see quite a bit of moisture pushing through to now the northeast quadrant of the state. And of course, Phoenix, we're somewhere in the middle. So just like yesterday, we kind of got leftovers from what was pushing through closer to California. Remember, we had that flood watch. Well, today we are now going to get kind of the leftovers of what's pushing through in the higher elevations. And of course, all of this is leftovers from what was a tropical storm. Mario continues to bring some rain to the region from Tucson into Prescott, the Grand Canyon, Payson, Show Low, Sedona, and even Phoenix. We should see some pop-up showers, some of them getting dynamic at time, meaning there's going to be possible lightning, possible outflow, possible strong winds, hail, and potentially some flooding. Even though there are no flood watches or advisories posted yet, we of course will keep you posted all day long. Today, monsoon meter reads 5s and 6s for the higher elevations. Of course, because of its proximity and power of these systems, we've got a 4 for the valley, but for western Arizona, only about a 3 today. So what does that 4 to 5 mean? Possibly some large hail. I'm talking in diameter ½ inch or above. So basically pea to penny size. We also have some potential for some stronger winds staying under 60 miles an hour. And that's just that outflow wind. I'm not looking for sustained winds in this velocity, just the outflow concerns. And of course, anytime we're talking about strong winds and possibly some outflow, that means there's potential for a dust storm in the region. So let me map you through the day. On this Friday, you can see early morning activity, and then it starts to clear out. We've got another pop of moisture right about the 10 o'clock hour, and then this is going to dissipate until later this evening. We've got another opportunity, and that's where we're really seeing that higher elevation impact. And then things start to clear out for Saturday, but we've got even more moisture coming in on Sunday and Monday, which is going to help overall keep those temperatures down. So kind of a closer look at the Phoenix metro area. You can see some of these pop-up cells developing around the 2 to 3 hour. And again, isolated, pocketed, but potentially severe. So they can develop and they can dissipate in under an hour's time. We're seeing that through about 4 o'clock, and then most of that moisture should be retreating into the higher elevations. So as far as rainfall totals, we're kind of on the minimal side today, looking for under 1/10 of an inch, but we've already picked up some pretty decent moisture for us. Almost 1/4 of an inch of rain officially at Sky Harbor in Phoenix. But as you can see around the region, it's really hit and miss as these pocketed storms are able to bring a lot of saturation to Paradise Valley, but not so much to Avondale. So that's why we really call it pocketed or scattered. Today, highs are going to be at about 98 degrees as we continue to see these scattered showers and quite a bit of cloud cover off and on throughout the day. But again, with temperatures under 100 degrees, we'll take it. We're still looking for pop-up thunderstorms tonight as we drop down to about 82. And tomorrow around the region, once again, we're starting to see this moisture diminish, but more is on the horizon. I mean, look at this 7-day forecast shows we're seeing another round of monsoon moisture. I know it's kind of weak, but it's enough to keep those temperatures down. So look for Flagstaff to stay in the low 70s. We should dangle back up into the double digits Sunday and Monday, but warmer slightly next week.
Now let's cruise on over to Colorado, where it's been pretty pleasant out there, but the weather pattern may turn stormy and cooler as we kick off autumn. Chris Bianchi and Katie LaSalle have the details from Denver.
Well, we enjoyed a very warm and pleasant day back on Thursday across Colorado after a couple of stormy days, Tuesday and Wednesday. Red Rocks and the Rockies games were both delayed. It was a bit of a stormy mess along the Front Range. Fort Collins, what a stay in over 4 months back on Tuesday. Much calmer for us on Thursday. We'll generally keep that pattern in place as we head over the next few days, including this Friday, but temperatures yesterday. 70s across the eastern plains today. 10 degrees warmer. We get southwest flow. That's going to boost those temperatures considerably for today, and that'll also bring a bit of high-level cloud cover to the mountains and a few showers showers and storms. The main story for today, temperatures jump up for eastern Colorado, east of the Continental Divide, as we get about 10 degrees warmer. Again, that southwest flow is going to make all the difference, and it will bring in a few clouds and a few showers and storms for the San Juans, or southwesternmost mountains, as well as on up into the West Elks. Now, fall foliage, we're talking about near peak conditions for us across Rocky Mountain National Park and down through parts of the I-70 corridor above 10,000 feet. For most of Colorado's mountains, the peak weekend will be the final weekend, the 26th through the 28th, but still seeing some of those fall colors. So just keep in mind, we will have some clouds and a few shower storms in our far southwestern mountains. We're not quite at peak in the San Juans yet, though, but it's still a few shower storms around for us. As we look ahead, our next kind of thing to note for us across Colorado will be an area low pressure that dips on in from the north and west. Models a bit more bullish that we're going to get some impacts from that on Monday and Tuesday. And those impacts will mostly come in the form of two things. In the Denver area, we get showers and storms on Monday for the official start of fall, which comes at 12:19 p.m. on Monday afternoon. That's when the sun's rays will be directly over the equator. The result is the start of fall for us in about 12 hours of equal daylight across the globe. And then Tuesday, a notable cool down for us as well, warming back up and drying out Wednesday and Thursday.
Happy Friday to you, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. It's the final days of the summer season officially. It'll feel slightly more like it as we count down to fall. The fall equinox officially occurs on Monday, 12:19, the day and the night essentially the same length. So what exactly is the autumnal equinox? It's when the sun crosses the celestial equator, marking astronomical autumn here in the northern hemisphere, in the southern hemisphere, marking spring. Nearly equal in length the day and the night, and it'll feel slightly more seasonal as we get into Monday afternoon. But for today, it's low 80s. Denver, Greeley, Fort Collins, the high country, slightly above average as well with 60s and 70s. Our average high on September 19th in Denver is 79 degrees. The record, that was 96 set back in 2010. It looks like we're out of the 90s for us here over the metro area as we look ahead at our extended forecast. Tomorrow will, though, be slightly above average. Tomorrow's normal high for September 20th is 78 degrees. 82 we're expecting out at the airport. Now, we will be seeing clouds increase later on today and a few isolated gusty storms in the high country. Taking us through our Front Range Futurecast as we start Saturday morning, lots of sunshine for you out there. No matter what you have planned, should feel quite lovely. Warm in the afternoon with just a few isolated thunderstorms and showers possible over higher terrain off to our west. Few and far between, not a lot of measurable precipitation. Should stay dry for the Denver area. But I want to give you a reminder on this Friday that even though it's cool, the sun is shining all year round here in Colorado, around 300 days on average UV index, something that we like to talk about because even though it's cool out there and you're not really feeling like the heat of the summer in these last couple of days, the risk of sunburn or skin damage is there on exposed skin for today and through the weekend. Burn time can occur in as little as 15 to 30 minutes. Just protect yourself, have fun, enjoy the slightly warmer than average weather pattern, and enjoy the weekend.
Still ahead after the break, we'll have your local forecast from the Pacific Northwest. And later, we're going to take a closer look at what factors are impacting the health of Washington's southern resident orcas and what's being done to help them. Welcome back to Weather Out West. The entire state of Washington is under a drought, and it's going to take some time to see any major improvements. But as we know, any rain will help up here. Seattle's Rich Marriott is tracking much needed rain headed to the Evergreen State.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Rich Marriott, and happy Friday. We finally made it. It's been an interesting week weather-wise, but we've had some pretty nice sunshine and warm temperatures for the last week of summer. We're starting off this last Friday of summer. Well, it was a lot of sunshine out there, looking pretty good from our Port Angeles tower cam. You can see a little haze and some fog out in the distance, and we do have some patchy areas of fog around. You can see there in Everett, seeing a little bit of light fog kind of drifting through there and a little bit more out in the distance. And if you check out there in Tacoma, we've got a little bit of haze and some fog out there in combination for some variety. Only 3 days left until the official arrival of fall on Monday, but we're going to see a little bit of rain as we head towards the weekend. After a very dry summer, the last weekend of summer is going to have a round of rain as we head towards late Saturday night. The good news is if you have plans outdoors on Saturday, it looks like the rain's going to hold off until late evening, probably after about 9 to 10 o'clock before it moves into Puget Sound. And the showers will be decreasing on Sunday, though it might affect the Seahawk game a little bit. We'll have that that forecast in just a second. Checking the beginning of fall, though, you see we end up with sunshine and some warm temperatures as we get through those first few days of fall. Checking the satellite image, we do have high pressure over us right now. You can see this little system up here that is going to be pushing in as we head towards Saturday night. It should be into the coastal areas, probably late afternoon, and the rain will spread inland as we head towards late evening around midnight, and then pretty wet behind that. That's going to zip on through, and then high pressure is going to build right back in again as we start next week for the arrival of fall with some sunshine and temperatures in the 70s. The good news with this, and we really need this, is that we should see some wetting rains, which will help tamp down the fires a little bit. We look at the rainfall totals and put that into motion. You can see as we head towards late in the afternoon, we start to see rain accumulate along the north coast. It spreads inland as we head towards late evening on into the wee small hours, and it's a pretty good wetting rain. We're getting anywhere from a quarter to a half an inch of rain down in the lowlands, and then up in the mountains we should see maybe even a little bit more of that as that moves on through. So this will be really good for bringing the fire danger down, because we do have substantial fire action going on both sides of the Cascades. This basically we get the wetting rain Saturday night into Sunday, especially from the Cascade Crest westward is where we're going to see most of that, but it's even going to help with the east side fires, and definitely on both sides of the Cascades. Cooler temperatures and much higher humidities, both of which will help firefighters. Take a look at a lot of football this weekend. If you're headed over to the Apple Cup there in Pullman, it's unusual. It's going to be warm for the Apple Cup. In fact, in the low 80s, a kickoff at 4:30 on Saturday, and we'll see at halftime still sunny and temperatures into the mid 70s. And by the time the game's over with, mostly clear skies, temperatures cooling back to the low to mid 60s. If you're headed for the Seahawk game in Seattle on Sunday, it looks like we're going to see a convergence zone form. Most places will start to dry out during the day, but roughly Seattle northward, we're going to be looking for some convergence zone precipitation. So look for showers if you're tailgating early on and before noontime. Probably still going to be looking at some rain showers as we head towards the start of the game, it looks like. And the good news is that should gradually diminish and pretty much be gone during the second half. Partly sunny as you're leaving the stadium, which is good news, and temperatures mostly in the mid to upper 60s by the end of the game. So definitely want to take that rain gear with you just in case. Looking at the smoke situation, we continue to see a lot of smoke in eastern Washington from those very active fires. Here on the west side, we're in pretty good shape overall. We're going to be looking for some light smoke haze, and then as we head into Sunday and we get the onshore winds behind that front, it's going to push it all out of western Washington. And we'll be looking for good air quality for today and tomorrow, and really on through Sunday with that cleaner ocean air coming in off the Pacific. And overall, checking the 7-day forecast. So today, mostly sunny to wrap up our Fridays in the summertime. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s. For tomorrow, we'll start off with sunshine. Clouds should move in during the afternoon. That rain holding off from Puget Sound until after 9 or 10 o'clock on Saturday evening. So daytime and early evening, you don't have to worry about rain. It doesn't look like it'll be. If you stay out late Saturday night, you might end up needing that umbrella or rain jacket. As you head into Sunday, we'll see a pretty good round of rain in the early hours, and then turn to off and on showers in the afternoon. Those should clear out except in that convergence zone from about Seattle northward. That should go away by early evening, though. Temperatures in the mid to upper 60s Sunday. For the arrival of fall, sunshine and around 70. Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll look for low to mid 70s. Partly sunny Thursday with just a few sprinkles, and highs in the mid to upper 60s.
Down in Oregon, showers are expected as well. Portland's Chris McGinnis tells us how much rain to expect and what the first day of autumn looks like.
Hello again, I'm meteorologist Chris McGinnis. The headlines shaping up like this. A good-looking Friday, a little warmer today as well. We'll keep the sunshine going into tomorrow, and then we do have some weekend rain. But hold on, it's going to be a fast-moving system here, so if you blink, you might miss it. I'll walk you through that in a second. First thing I want to do, though, is take you up to Timberline Lodge. So from 6,000 feet on Mount Hood, our camera actually pointed south towards Mount Jefferson. Usually we can see the Three Sisters off in the distance, but you really can't today, and that's because there's some wildfire smoke and haze in the sky. That rolled in yesterday from northerly winds blowing in smoke from the Olympic Peninsula fires that have been burning pretty intensely here. And the north wind will continue today, so we may see some more of that wildfire smoke in the air today. Not until tomorrow do we get enough of a wind shift where we'll scour some of that out even more so as we go into the day on Sunday. This morning, still kind of foggy at the coast. That's the live look from Lincoln City, the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera here in Lincoln City. Usually off in the distance, you can see Cascade Head, but obviously that is obscured this morning. The fog will lift at the beach, and the Oregon coast looks gorgeous this afternoon with afternoon sun. Astoria should get up to about 69 for a daytime high today. Taking you out into the Columbia River Gorge, toasty out towards the Dalles, 92, 88 in Hood River with a west wind kicking up 10 to 15. And as we mentioned, the trend for Southwest Washington and Northwest Oregon today will be to take yesterday's temperatures and bump them up a good 2 to 5 degrees. So case in point, Vancouver yesterday was 79. Today I've got you at 83. Battleground 82. We go down to the south. Yesterday Salem was 78. Today I've got you at 83. McMinnville at 84. And elsewhere across the region, Central Oregon getting into the mid-80s today. As we mentioned, the Oregon coast mid to upper 60s, but the morning clouds there should burn off. So a good looking day today. Let's get into the weekend and that chance of rain. Okay, we'll go out a little wider. There's our storm center chugging across the North Pacific. It actually looks a little more impressive on satellite today than it did yesterday. That's probably why the moisture totals have come up just a little bit, and I'll show you that in a second. Futurecast today shows plenty of sunshine for Northwest Oregon and Southwest Washington throughout the day today. Largely due to the warming weather today, we're probably going to draw in that marine layer a little early tomorrow morning. So this is Saturday at 6:30. Don't be surprised up in like Calex, Clark, Wahkiakum counties, Columbia County, you do see some morning cloud cover. Wouldn't be out of the question. I know our model's not specifically suggesting it, but we might see some clouds work their way into the Willamette Valley as well. Those clouds will burn off, and Saturday looks gorgeous. If you're heading to the coast, tomorrow will be a great last Saturday of summer. Of course, fall arrives on Sunday, right? Monday, excuse me. All right, here's Futurecast tomorrow night. So this front is a fast mover. I mentioned the coast will be nice during the day on Saturday, but Saturday night that front moves in. And overnight and early Sunday morning, I should say, before most folks are probably out of bed, it's going to be raining here in Portland and Vancouver. As fast as that system moves in, Futurecast tracks it out of here before 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. Don't get too fixated on the time. I mean, there's probably a little wiggle room, an hour or two either way, but the point is we start with rain and we'll probably finish with some sunshine. Modeling likes a good 0.2 of an inch of rain and some isolated higher pockets. The trend from yesterday, the numbers have come up across the board, but the trend remains the same. Higher amounts to the north, lesser amounts to the south. And again, we think this is a pretty fast moving system. So morning showers with afternoon sunshine on Sunday. We get a little cooler though with highs in the 70s. Right back up to the upper 70s on Friday, or Monday I should say. Fall officially arrives on Monday morning. And the rain chances for next week that were originally looking somewhat promising have gone away. It looks like a sunny and warm start to fall.
Coming up after the break, we're staying in the Northwest, but we're headed east of the Cascade Mountains to Spokane and Boise. The storm system that's going to bring Seattle and Portland some much needed rain may bring a few scattered showers on Sunday, along with some strong winds and a drop of temperatures in eastern Washington. Spokane's Thomas Patrick has everything you need to know.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Obviously, the last summer weekend here, a lot happening across the inland Northwest to kind of celebrate that. And thankfully, the weather feels like that as well. Really, since this past Tuesday and Wednesday, it has felt more like July than not, especially heading into these first few days of fall. September can sometimes go either way, but we've been definitely on the top end of that scale more often than not, and we continue to enjoy it while it lasts because we know it won't last forever. The forecast continues to have more days at and above 80 degrees than you would expect for mid-September. Sunshine through at minimum Saturday here, but a big pattern change on Sunday with a storm that could resemble that of a windstorm without it being a full-fledged windstorm. More on that in a moment, but we'll talk temperatures. First of all, 85 degrees, the forecast high for Spokane today, and up to 87 in Coeur d'Alene, likely continues through tomorrow. So now we'll take you to Pullman for the Apple Cup. The first time the Apple Cup is being held in September in Pullman. And with that being said, this is going to be by far and away the hottest Apple Cup ever. Now, obviously, when Washington State and UW played each other as part of the Pac-12, it was always a late November game. And it would never be in the 80s back in November, but it has been warm out there, and that could stand for quite a while for that 4:30 p.m. kickoff. I looked back at the Apple Cup history, and I would say most times when it was in Seattle, it was likely going to be in the 50s or 40s, and when it was in Pullman, it was more likely 40s and 30s. But now that the game is going to be more of a September game, you're going to expect some warmer Apple Cups. Last year being the first time it was a September Apple Cup. 66 degrees in Seattle last year, but now 83 this year in Pullman. Compare that to the 2 previous years when it was back at its more traditional November date. In Pullman, it was 38 degrees on that late November day in 2022. Weird to see it at 38 versus this year at 83. So that's the direction we are moving. But I'll tell you what, for September standards, this has been one of, if not the hottest September ever, at least to start the month here. In 2025, we've averaged over 72 degrees between the high and the low temperature for the first 18 days of the month. That is by far the hottest start to September so far, and it actually bests last year's record. So 2 years on the bounce, number 1 and number 2 hottest Septembers, again, so far on record. And it's not just those 90 and near 100 degree days at the start of the month, but it's just been consistently July-like in the 80s more often than not, with just an off day here or there. That next off day, which is really more like an average September day, will be coming our way on Sunday. I've been tracking this particular storm system for a number of days now, starting to become a bit more clear that it has the same shape and pattern as a windstorm, but not nearly to the strength to warrant that designation. So instead, we just get some windy or breezy conditions for the inland northwest. I think our wind gusts will be close to about 30, 25 miles per hour, but the cold front should do enough to drop our temperatures decently significantly, and that should be the biggest change from Saturday to Sunday as we go from 85 degrees to 69. That's a 16-degree temperature drop in one day, which is significant enough, but don't expect a ton of wind or a ton of rain, maybe just enough to accompany the cold front when it passes through. It is the only chance for rain in Spokane for the week ahead, but at least the first day of fall will feel fall-like in the low 70s.
And it's going to be a mild start to the weekend, but a cold front is expected to move into Idaho on Sunday as well. Boise's Tyson White tells us what changes the front will bring to southern Idaho.
Hi there, I'm Tyson White from KTVB out here in Boise, and we are taking a kind of a look around the region this morning. Here is Redfish Lake, the visitor camera here at the lodge over Warm Lake. Just a beautiful shot this morning. Partly cloudy skies for these areas, much of southern Idaho out here. Skycam 7 here in Boise, kind of ominous looking with some of those gray clouds in the background, but those clouds will start burning off later on this afternoon. Smith's Ferry, one of my favorite cameras here along southern Idaho, along Highway 55 out here, looking at Cougar Mount Lodge and the Payette River there in the background, looking nice there as well. Temperatures in the mountain areas in the mid-30s this morning, so we'll see those kind of warm up into the mid-70s by this afternoon. May Marina looking nice too as the sun comes up, and some picturesque scenes there throughout the morning. Really nice there. Maybe a great day to hop on the boat and enjoy a cup of coffee and kind of exploring Lake Payette throughout the morning out there. Taking a look at what we saw yesterday. If you liked yesterday, you'll like today as well. Temperatures were in the upper 80s across southern Treasure Valley out there. Same thing, mid-80s there for the Magic Valley areas and mid-70s for the mountain locations. Really nice conditions out there yesterday. We'll repeat that today with a little more cloud cover throughout the afternoon. And that's thanks in part to this high pressure system that's been funneling a lot of those clouds up into our area from Southern California, as well as the warmth that we've seen the last couple of days out here across southern Idaho. Futurecast is going to help me paint a picture of when those clouds will move out and when we'll see some changes coming along the horizon here. We'll see those clouds kind of burn out in this 9 o'clock hour here across Treasure Valley. Magic Valley, we'll see those overnight clear out as well. But then tomorrow afternoon, Saturday afternoon, we'll start to see some scattered showers popping up along that Nevada border, as well as out in eastern Idaho. The chance of those moving into the Snake River Basin are slim to none so far with that portion of the storm. However, as we push Futurecast through Sunday, here's that cold front that's going to be bringing in cooler temperatures. That's going to slip through about midday Sunday. That's going to bring us some cooler temperatures, blustery winds out there and a chance of a scattered isolated shower or two across much of southern Idaho. Greater chances in those central and west central mountain locations as we look forward to Saturday. The storm chances, the best chance is going to be Sunday afternoon with 15% chance of storms. And then throughout the rest of next week, really not going to see a whole lot of precipitation here across southern Idaho. Today, though, for your Treasure Valley planner, things are looking pretty decent out there, starting off warm, 70 degrees by about 10 o'clock this morning, and then noon hours up to 77 throughout the afternoon. They're warming up to about 86 degrees, partly cloudy skies here. Taking a look at the Magic Valley day planner here, starting off a little bit cooler today here in the Magic Valley, mid-50s throughout the morning, and then we're going to warm up gradually by the noon hour up to 77 or 72 degrees, mid-80s by the afternoon, partly cloudy skies. Those clouds will start burning off later on into the evening hours. Taking a look at the Magic Valley for today, as we mentioned, 83 out there for Gooding, 81 for Burley, partly cloudy skies. West or Central Mountain locations, 76 for Sun Valley, looking nice out there. 77 for Stanley, partly cloudy skies. Those clouds will start burning off in the afternoon hours. Same thing goes here for the Long Valley, McCall, Donley up to near 80 degrees. Cascade, 75 degrees. Riggins, that's going to be the warm spot across southern Idaho, 92 degrees. Can't just escape the summer heat there in Riggins. Here on the western edge of the Treasure Valley, 87 for Ontario, 86 for Caldwell. Weezer up to 87 as well. And the same thing goes here for the Boise area, 87 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Those clouds will start dissipating this afternoon. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, that spells out the change that we'll be seeing today. Tomorrow, decent conditions, partly cloudy skies. Things are looking nice. And then Sunday, that cool front will push through, bringing us that chance of showers, gusty winds, and cooler temperatures. Daytime high will be happening earlier in the day thanks to that cool front. Then Monday, fall starts, 74 degrees. That's about 5 degrees below average for this time of year. Plenty of sunshine next week, though, as we see temperatures starting to warm up gradually into the middle portion of next week, capping out at about 84 degrees on Wednesday. Really a great week setting up there for the Boise area. Taking a look at your Twin Falls 7-day forecast. Things look similar there. That cool front bringing in cooler temperatures Sunday into Monday. Monday, 70 degrees out there with mostly sunny skies into the middle portion of next week. Don't forget, you can always get your weather forecast for the Boise area online at ktv.com.
After a quick break, we'll check out what's happening out east in today's national forecast. Now that we've covered our regions out west, let's go back out east where Julie Martin is tracking the threat for severe weather in the lower plains, frosty conditions in northern New England, and what's going on in the tropics.
Well, we still have the possibility of some flooding in Southern California from some tropical moisture there, and we're staying above average in the Midwest, Mid-South. Not so much when we head into New England, northern New England, Maine. You've got some frost and freeze advisories, the first of the season there. Comfortable weather here across the Midwest, 70s from Minneapolis to Des Moines. Cleveland, you'll be at 79. 70 your high in Buffalo, 72 in Portland, but those lows are going to be quite chilly. Heading into the Mid-Atlantic, we'll be in the 80s, 90s here across the Deep South, 79 in Denver. Comfortable here in the Pacific Northwest as well. And then California, looking nice there for you in San Diego at 77. We'll see 98 in Phoenix. Taking a look at our national radar satellite right now, we do notice this area here of disturbed weather in the upper Midwest. This is producing some rain throughout Minnesota into the Dakotas, also in through Oklahoma. We do have some rain moving through, and then some more moisture, as I mentioned, coming into California and the Four Corners region with the monsoon. So we do have the flood advisories up here, the flood watch here from LA into almost all the way into the Central Valley. And then we are looking at mostly quiet weather in terms of the watches and warnings. The purple on the map here, those are those frost and freeze advisories, really confined to the really northern part of New England. So not too bad in terms of the severe weather today. Could see a few strong storms developing here in the plains, but we've got a level 1 out of 5 there, so not a real high threat. Anything organized is probably not very likely. Tropical storm Gabrielle still out here in the Atlantic, and it's still a 50-mile-per-hour storm moving off to the west-northwest at around 12 miles per hour. And the spaghetti model is actually taking it east of Bermuda by about late weekend into early next week. So good news there for the eastern coast of the United States. We don't think there will be any major impacts other than maybe some rip currents. And then we have another area of tropical development. This one has a very low chance of developing, about a 20% chance over the next several days. All right, taking a look here at those highs for your Friday, comfortable there in Seattle, as I mentioned. Should be quiet weather all along the West Coast, really. Comfortable there in San Diego as well. Sacramento, you'll be in the 80s once we get some rain out of the way. You do warm up. Phoenix into the triple digits on Saturday. Denver, beautiful forecast for you with those 80s. 90s all across the Lone Star State, and then we'll see the 80s and 90s really stretching from Little Rock into Tampa. Atlanta looks like a beautiful weekend for you with the 80s, and we've got those 80s in the Mid-South, Midwest as well, and looking at the comfortable, cool fall weather once we head into the upper Midwest and in and around the Great Lakes region. And then, as I mentioned, really chilly when we get into northern New England. Portland, you'll be down in the 60s for your highs by the end of the weekend.
After the break, our Environment Northwest team takes a deeper dive at the health of our southern resident orcas in Washington. Life is hard for Washington State's southern resident orcas, and especially for the calves. Just this last weekend, the struggling population suffered the loss of a newborn baby. Today, we're taking a closer look at what factors are impacting the health of southern residents and what's being done to help them. Here's Environment Northwest's Leah Pizzetti.
If we didn't change anything today, given the current circumstances, would we be able to save this population?
If we do nothing, we will lose this population forever.
Right now, there are exactly 74 southern resident killer whales, a decrease of 24 since the 90s.
Around here, they're iconic, so we all get our hopes up when there's a new calf. We all grieve collectively when one dies. We know when the population goes up or down by one individual.
Rob Williams, co-founder of nonprofit Oceans Initiative, has devoted his career to studying orcas. Oh my God. He says a goal of 2.3% growth per year for 28 years was set, hoping to get the population totals back into the 90s. Instead, over the last 30 years, there's been a decline of 1.5% every year. The Center of Whale Research estimates there were about 98 orcas in the mid-90s to the now 74.
So this has been decades in the making?
Yes.
Why has it taken so long to correct it?
The first problem is that you have to quantify how big the problem is, and it takes decades of science.
So that's what Rob is doing. He and a team of 17 scientists recently published a study digging into the data to see what the reality of population recovery actually looks like. Williams says of the 74 southern resident orcas right now, about half are female. A portion of those are either too old or too young to reproduce. That leaves about a dozen female orcas carrying the population. With a 17-month gestation period, each would only have a calf every 3 to 5 years, and historically speaking, about half of calves die, so they won't all make it. This means that with the assumption that older whales are also dying during this time frame, it would take 50 years to grow the population by 15 to 20 whales.
So we have to manage our expectation that we didn't get into this situation overnight, and it will take a long, long time for us to recover.
This research also looks at the causes of this decline. Williams says the top factor is a lack of food, Chinook salmon specifically. Second, noise contamination. Whales use acoustic sounds to listen for salmon and hunt. Too many boats and noises make it hard for them to feed. And third, contaminants like plastic and forever chemicals in the food they do eat.
What should we do?
Well, the whales are telling us that they need a lot more salmon.
This, he suggests, could come down to reducing Chinook salmon harvest, increasing hatchery production, or stopping catching Chinook salmon in the open ocean to leave them for the orcas.
What happens if we lose this population?
I don't even want to think about losing this population. I can't imagine the Salish Sea, the Pacific Northwest, without our iconic killer whales and Chinook salmon. We've seen this in cases from California to Alaska, that if you remove the top predators, the lower trophic levels, the system collapses like a house of cards.
And that system is our oceans.
That's our Salish Sea. That's what we call home.
So it is possible to help. We just have to actually do it.
I think the number one thing I want people to learn from this study is that populations have bounced back from much, much more severe genetic bottlenecks than this.
And that is the hope. For Environment Northwest, I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti.
Before we wrap things up, we wanted to give you another idea of what to expect out west. We're going to kick things off the 7-day forecast in Denver, where they're expecting mostly sunny skies in the area for today. Meanwhile, next week, they are going to have the better chance for some thunderstorms. That's on Monday, the first day of fall. Now down to Phoenix, you see the triple-digit heat returns, just nothing like earlier in the summer. And then for our friends in Southern California, 70s next week in the 80s. And then Sacramento, showers, and don't forget there is a weather impact alert there for today. Then the 90s return. Boise, really looking nice. Maybe a couple of showers for some areas, but better chance for showers on Sunday. For Spokane, highs near 70. Meanwhile, in Portland, going to have some morning showers, and then on Sunday, and then looking great. Same for our friends in Seattle. That's when we will have the better chance for some showers on Sunday, early Sunday. That does it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm Ashley Ruiz, and we hope you'll join us next week for our next Weather Out West on fall.